Welcome back. A familiar face in Upshur County law enforcement is beginning a new chapter, one that also makes county history.
Yeah, today Mariah LaGrone was sworn in as the new Precinct 4 constable, becoming the first woman to hold that position. KLTV's Zori Jones shows you why LaGrone says that this appointment is about carrying on a legacy of service.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All righty, congratulations.
For Mariah LaGrone, this wasn't just about taking an oath. It was about accepting the responsibility of continuing a legacy. The Upshur County Commissioner's Court appointed LaGrone after the death of Precinct 4 Constable David Thompson, who died in May. Now she's stepping into the role he left behind.
It's an honor to be appointed and can take his legacy or what he left behind when he passed, and be able to continue forward with what he wanted, and that was more involvement with the community.
LaGrone says Thompson was known for being visible and building relationships throughout the county. She hopes to do the same while also making history as the first woman to serve as Upshur County Precinct 4 Constable.
I'm very excited because kind of broke that glass ceiling there. Hopefully more females, more little girls that kind of wasn't sure, they can look and go, oh, I want to be like her. She can do it. I want to do it. And that, absolutely, if I can do it, they can do it.
Before law enforcement, LaGrone was a nurse, but she says a different calling led her to public service, one she believes is centered around helping people. Now, she says her focus is simple: being present.
Those are your constituents, those are your people, you're there for them. So you have to be out, you have to be seen, you have to be working. It's a nonstop running and gunning, and I'm ready for it.
Zori Jones, KLTV 7 News.
LaGrone says she does not have an official full-time start date yet. She will spend the next several weeks training her replacement at the Upshur County Sheriff's Office while she transitions into her